Hello, this is Prisma Lopez-Marin here on Monday with the Mayor on WJTS, here with Mayor Terry Seitz of Jasper. Hello, Mayor.
Hello, Prisma. Good day to you.
Always good to see you, and definitely seeing you out and about in all of these events that are happening, especially with important things that are happening.
We had
Jasper.
an outstanding week last week, and certainly I know we have a special guest today, Chad Hurm, our city engineer. And as we have kind of introduced Chad to you, I think you were rather fascinated about how much he has his finger on everything that happens in the city. From the mayor's perspective, last week he's one of our critical department heads, and we have 15 of those, give or take, and they're all important to me and to the people of Jasper. For me as mayor last week, it was an outstanding week in many different ways, but I'd be remiss if I didn't formally use this time on Monday with the Mayor to thank Jim and Pat Tinn. Jim is the recently retired CEO and president of Kimball International, led the company to develop into two publicly owned companies, Kimball Electronics and Kimball International, and Pat has been a 25-year member of our Jasper Community Arts Commission. And last week, actually, we announced it last week, but they came into my office in March and said, Mayor, we want to issue a challenge grant towards the arts, but in order to get the Jasper Cultural Center where the arts and library can be built together. We want to get that done. And we took that, and since there was a challenge to be able to match that, we looked at other ways we could become, engage the public in producing monies for not only the Cultural Center, for the Arts and Library, for Next Act, which is the Astra, and even looking at downtown Jasper in an infrastructure project that we want to do. And of course, when we're digging in the ground, the above ground will look different.
Yes.
No use to put it back the same way. All that being said, we announced a public capital campaign, our first ever one for the community of Jasper, for all these projects, and it's called Jasper Leads, Library Enrichment Arts Downtown. JasperLeads.org is the website. You can donate from there. We have a lot of work to do behind the scenes because Jim and Pat committed $1.7 million to this $8 million campaign. And now we have to not only match that, we want to secure additional dollars. And we have a lot of visitations, a lot of discussions to do. We hope people are open to that possibility, and we want to do this in a relatively short period of time. But Jim and Pat Tinn gave us a way to accomplish something that I've dreamt of for a long time, of literally being able to have even public investments in projects that we felt as a community will make us an even stronger one. So that's my happiness, among other things that happened in the past week, 2 weeks since we've talked. And today I want to introduce you to Chad Hurm, and Chad's our city engineer. So I'm going to turn this over to Prisma and let her find out all about Chad and the work he does for the city of Jasper.
And we're here with Chad Hurm. Can you please introduce your position and what you do for us here at the city?
Yeah, as you said, I'm Chad Hurm. I'm the city engineer for the city of Jasper. I'm a registered civil engineer in the state of Indiana. Probably our biggest item that we do for the city, we work with virtually every department within the city as more or less support staff for projects, community development, planning, zoning. We do projects for stormwater, wastewater, water department. We work very closely with the street department on various projects they have. So like I said, there's basically every department we've done work for over the years. So
there is a lot of quality of place and quality of life mentioning in terms of events that are going on in the city of Jasper. Can you tell us how that applies to the things that you're planning in terms of your position?
Sure. You know, first of all, one of the things that we get very involved with is utilities for those items. We also are involved in a lot of the initial planning on that, what zoning is, what they can do in those areas, floodplain issues, infrastructure such as streets, how those are going to be impacted by these developments. So we will be involved with that from the very beginning and kind of help those developers, whether it be a private or a public department that's doing it, move forward. We will coordinate stuff on the city end as far as street improvements need to be made, or storm sewer improvements, water, wastewater, things like that as they move forward with these particular projects. So for the parklands, for instance, we were involved in that from the very beginning as far as potential layouts of different items and involvement from topographical surveys and things of that nature. The River Center we were involved with more from a utilities standpoint, because that's going to be a more of a private project, but we still have utilities in those areas that we need to address, and we work with the developers on those improvements as well. So Cultural Center is really getting going now. We were involved in some of the initial environmental assessments that were done on that, helping with that kind of stuff, and we did walkthroughs of the buildings to determine what items needed to be addressed there, and along with the outside consultants. So, we are part of all these projects. One of the few departments that are from a standpoint of how involved we are with it. So
it's very directed towards every department and its function. That's very interesting. In terms of the LEAD campaign that was recently announced last week, it also includes the cultural center that you mentioned. Can you tell us what the difference between working with public development and private development? I understand for the cultural center, it will be a private developer.
That's correct. We will, as far as our department's involved, we will work with the consultants and developer on our end to make sure that everything they need is available to them. We will help them out as much as we can with mapping and things of that nature. We have been involved in flood questions involved in the cultural center, so we'll be there to help them through the process, as well as make sure that all of our departments are adequately represented.
Absolutely. We're definitely looking forward to all of the quality of place things that are happening with the Parklands, the Cultural Center, and other projects that are spearheading here in the city of Jasper. So thank you so much for joining us and for the work that you do to get these projects going.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you. This has been Prisma Lopez-Marin here on Monday with the Mayor and with our guests from the city civil engineering position.